Yesterday, we looked at the terrible story of Elimelech B'Giv'ah, and now we continue with this story with chapter 20 of the book of Judges. The man sent out the cut pieces, severed pieces of his wife all over Israel. And today we continue with that story and the response of Bnei Israel. Vayitzu kol Bnei Israel v'tikael ha'edah ki ish echad midan v'ad Beersheva be'eretz hagilad el Adonai b'mitzvah. So all of Bnei Israel gathered together from Dan to Beersheva. We talked about this past days, right? This is from the story just before this, that the tribe of Dan went up north and took the city of Laish, those innocent people, and now thus the border is from the north to the south, from Dan to Beersheva, and they gather in the Mitzpah. Vayityatzvu pnot kol ha'am kol shiftei Yisrael b'kol ha'am ha'elohim arba meot elef ish raglei sholef cherev. All the leaders of the Bnei Israel, all of the tribes presented themselves, 400,000 fighting men. Vayishmu b'nei Binyamin ki alu b'nei Israel mitzvah. Why are these 400,000 men armed, gathering together? They're going to attack the people of Binyamin. And so the people of Binyamin, one of the tribes of Israel, hears that this humongous army of Bnei Israel have gathered together. Vayimru Bnei Israel, Dabru Eicha Ni'ayta Hara Hazot. And Bnei Israel were saying, how could such a terrible thing happen? And we think of this word Eicha, the opening word, the book of Shinot, Lamentations, or Eicha, that Yirmiyahu writes in the aftermath destruction of Beit HaMikdash that's read on Tisha B'Av. And here we have that same word that's used here. It's tragic word, Eicha. How could it be that such a thing happened? Vayana Isha Levi, Isha Isha Hanirtzecha Vayomer Hagivat Asher LeBinyamin Bati Ani Upilakshi Lelo. And he says, I just went to go stay overnight in the Givah. Vayikum Alai Balei Agivah Vayasu Vayalai Tabayit Bayit Laila Oti Timula Harog Vepilakshi Anu Inu Vatamot. And he says, they gathered against me, they meant to kill me, they ravished my concubine until she died. He doesn't say that to save himself. He put her outside. And I took hold of my concubine and I cut her up. And I sent it out because the outrageous act of depravity, this heinous act that has been committed in Israel. So now you're all together, and let's get a plan of action now, not next week, not next month, not in a year from now. And people gathered together and said, nobody is going home. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to wage war against the Givah according to a lot. And this brings us back to the beginning of the book, where Bnei Israel, after the death of Yoshua, aren't sure what to do, and there's a lottery, and the lottery says, Yehuda, Batchila, Yehuda, you should continue the conquest. So there we have the lotteries to continue the conquest of Israel, and here we have the continuing conquest as a civil war amongst Israel. And we'll take from all the tribes of Israel 10 men to the 100. We're going to take right men 10%, and we're going to give them food, and they're going to go to the Givah, and they're going to do something to avenge this outrage. So the men of Israel went together, and they were chaverim. They were united. They were a chevra. They were a group together. And they sent messages to the whole tribe of Binyamin saying, what is going on here? It's evil. And they say something very simple. Give us the 5 men, the 8 men, whatever it was, who committed this crime. And they will face the death penalty. And this way we will stamp out, we will get rid of this horrendous evil that's happened. But the people of Binyamin refused to listen to them, not giving over the perpetrators. And so the tribe of Binyamin gathered together to go and fight against the other members of Bnei Israel. The Binyaminites gathered 26,000 fighting men. Along with, from the Givah themselves, they had 700 men. מכל העם הזה 700 איש בחור, איתר יד ימינו, כל זה קולע באבן, אל השערה ולא יחתי. All of this force, 700 men, were left-handed. Every one of them could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. They were great warriors, and they were lefties. That brings us back also to something earlier in the book, the story of Ehud ben Gera. And there's this irony here with the tribe of Binyamin. Ben Yemini means the son of my right hand, but these people are Iter Yad. They are lefties. We said, again, the members of the other 11 tribes have 400,000 men, nearly 20 times the amount that the members of Binyamin have. Vayakum, Vayalu Beitel, Vayishlu Elohim, Vayamu Bnei Yisrael, Miyalelu B'tchila L'Melchama Bnei Binyamin, Vayamar Adonai Yehuda B'tchila. Again, the very same words that we had in the beginning of the book with Bnei Yisrael asking who should go up. They asked God, and God said, Yehuda B'tchila. So that's the irony. We've gone from a place where it's to conquer the land of Israel to now Yehuda B'tchila to fight against members of their tribe. And maybe it's saying you haven't achieved anything in this book. It's like we're still at the beginning. Go back to the beginning. You guys haven't captured the land. You haven't furthered the conquest. By Akumu B'nei Yisrael B'boker, V'achanu al Givah. So B'nei Yisrael get up in the morning and they camp next to the Givah. V'yitzu Ish Yisrael Milchama and Binyamin V'archu Itam Ish Yisrael Milchama el HaGivah. And so they draw up a battle order, a battle plan. V'yitzu V'nei Binyamin Min HaGivah V'yashchitu V'Yisrael V'yabahu Shnayim V'esrim Elef Ish Artza. The Benjaminites come out to wage war, and 22,000 men from Bnei Israel, from the bigger army, from the 400,000 person army, die on that day. And the army of Israel, even though they were defeated, so many of their men on the first day, they rally again, they draw a battle order again. In the same place on the first day, and so they asked God, didn't work out. So should we try to wage war again? And God said, you should wage war. Why did they lose on the first day? Maybe it's a little bit of a sign that that things are going in the wrong direction, that things are going poorly and badly. You think about that number, 22,000, that's 2 times 11, 11 of the 12 tribes. Are the ones who are killed. So it may be related to that. And of course, this is a civil war. We are imploding as a people. So on the second day, they gathered to go to war. And it's interesting, this word that's used here, that's usually a word that means to come close to somebody. Members of Israel should be approaching each other. They should be close in friendship. But here, it's being used in the context of war. And on the second day, the Benjaminites come out, and 18,000 members of Bnei Israel die. God told them to go on a second day, and they lost again. So they go up to Beit El to pray to God, and they cry, and they tear their garments, they're fasting, they're offering sacrifices. And they're there with the Ark of the Covenants. And Pinchas is there. Pinchas was in the Torah, and this is part of this theory that this is a story that doesn't happen at the end of the time period of the book of Judges, but early in the time period of the book of the Judges. But again, it's here at the end of the book because it's showing without a king, there is anarchy, there's lawlessness. We are not a united people. We need a strong central leader. We need somebody who's going to lead us into battle, who's going to make us not just 12 disparate tribes, but one nation. And Pinchas says, you should go to war. Tomorrow you will be victorious. Some Yisrael or Vim el. And so the Israelite men, they put out an ambush. They're going in a different, they're not going to all attack at once. They go and they ambush the Givah from all sides. And they begin a battle once again on the third day. The Benjaminites run out from the city, and they're drawn away from their town. And they're on the roads to Bethel and to Gibeah, and they start out by striking members of Bnei Israel. 30 men of Israel die. So they think they're going to be successful again. They won the first little skirmish in this battle on the third day. Vayomer Bnei Binyamin, Migafim Hein Lefaneinu Kaf Rishona. They say they're day 3, and the same thing's going to happen. Bnei Israel Amru Nanu Sabanet Hua Min Ha'ir El HaMesilot. But the Bnei Israel this time they had a plan. We're going to take the fight and draw them away from the town into the roads, and we're going to ambush them. V'chol Yisrael kamu kamo be'archu b'Baal Tamar v'Orev Yisrael na'igiach mimakom ma'arei Geva. And so all Bnei Israel, they're right. They have a different battle plan, and they're going to ambush them from a different position. V'yavo mineged l'gvat l'giva aseret alafim ish bachur mikol Yisrael v'milchama kveida v'heim lo yadu ki dogat aleim hara. 10,000 men of Israel come to a point south of Gibeah, and there is a furious battle. God routs Binyamin before Israel. 25,100 men of Binyamin are defeated in battle. There were 26,700 soldiers, so they left with all of 1,600 soldiers. Hinagfu vaynu ish Yisrael makom leBinyamin ki batchu el ha'orev asher samu el ha'giva. When Binyamin realized they were completely defeated in battle, when they finally recognized this, because of the ambush that was laid, and the ambush quickly, they're now the members are going to the Giva, to the place where this terrible act of rape and murder happened. And they advance on the city and they destroy the entire city. And there was agreed upon time by the Israelite men when they were going to go into the city. When a huge column of smoke was sent up from the town is burning. And the Israelite men were ready to turn in battle. And again, we're just going back then in the beginning of the battle, when Bnei Israel had the first 30 men of them killed on day number 3. They thought they were going to be victorious, but of course they weren't. When the column, the pillar of smoke, rose up from the city, they looked behind them and they saw the whole town was smoked into the sky. The whole town was burning. And the Israelites knew that they could go and completely destroy all of Binyamin because they realized that they had been defeated soundly. It's going back earlier in the battle, saying that, right, this was confidence of Binyamin until they saw that their city was burning down, and they realized that they were not going to be victorious in battle. The men retreated before Israel, and then the wilderness, the bar, and there was fighting there, and a massacre is happening. They encircle the Benyaminites, they pursue them from Menucha, Nocha, Chagivam, Mizrach Shemesh, to the point opposite Giva on the eastern side of the Plume, Binyamin, Shmona, Asar, Elef, Ish, it's called Ela, Anshe Chayil. It says 18,000 men from Binyamin died that day by Ifnu, by Nishra Mikbar, El Sela, Rimon, Ve'alu, Mesilot, Chameshet, Alafim Ish, by Bikuach Harav, Ad, Gidon, by Menu Alpine Ish. And there are the later parts of the battle in different areas, there are another 5,000 up to 2,000. By Hikon of Flimmi, Binyamin, Esrina Kamisha, Elef, Ishal, by Amahu, et Kol Ela, Anshe Chayil. It says again 25,000 men of Binyamin died. By Ifnu, by Nishra Mikbar, El Sela, Rimon, Shesh Me'al Ish, by Shu, Basal, Rimon, Arba'a, Chodoshim. Here we go backwards, a 4-month period. That's 600 men from Binyamin. They turn and they're hiding in the rock of Rimon. Yisrael Shavu El B'nei Binyamin V'Achim Lefi Charev Meir Netom Ad Behema Ad Bonim Sagam Kol Harim Anim Sot Shalchu B'Esh. The men of Israel, meanwhile, they go back to the city of Binyamin, and they're just massive murder, killing people, animals, everything, setting fire to the towns. And so we have here in chapter 20 where a war is waged, a civil war, and basically one tribe of Israel, the youngest tribe, has been cut off. They have been destroyed. They have been decimated. Now they're decimated because of this lack of hospitality, because they are more like the people of Sodom than the descendants of Abraham, and therefore they, in a sense, need to be cut out. But it's a terrible moment. We were 12 tribes of Israel that left Egypt, and now it seems we're like 11 and a tiny bit of a tribe. And this is all. There's no justice in Israel. There's nobody who's leading. There's lawlessness. And it's a terrible, terrible moment in the history of our people.